Hello, everyone. It's that time again. Time for another, because it's Sunday, time for another confessions video. That's right. This is confessions number 46, still part 4. I'm the host of these confessions videos. My name is Mr. Ozzy Neil Rose. I hope everyone's having a great day. As for me, no complaints as usual. As you know, we usually dig into the archives of my past, as I call it. This is not going to be any different. Since this is the month of May, it always reminds me of my late sister who died from cancer. She was born May 31st. But I dwell on the good parts, more or less, from her, you know. If I would have told her, like say, prior to her ever getting cancer, like when she was in her addiction to meth, that, hey, your old brother here, someday he's going to be well known around here. People are going to take a real good liking to me around here. She would have said, you're dreaming. She'd have said, I'm on the shit, and sometimes I talk far out, you know, but I know you're not on the shit. And I would have told her, you know, but when you die, eventually when you get cancer and you die from cancer from using the shit, then I'm going to blame myself for not being there with you right at the moment of death, and I'm going to start using it with your husband, and then I'm going to start drinking 100 proof schnapps. She'd have said, you're totally out of your mind. Please go get professional help. That's what she would have told me. But all those things were true. She got cancer. She only lived 2 years and died with it. Then immediately upon her death, I started using meth and drinking 100 proof schnapps with her husband, you know, when she died. Because I blamed myself because I missed her death by about 4 or 5 hours, something like that, in the hospital. And I was living in Truman. She died at NEA Hospital here in Jonesboro. And I talked to the nurses, of course. You know, I've told about this in prior confessions videos that I told them I had to go to my new apartment in Truman. I think it's flooded in there. I said, she gonna be okay till I get here about 8 in the morning? They said, yes, sir. They said she should be fine. You know, we're still trying to get her in a hospice house, but she probably will not die as far as that goes, if that's what you're asking. I said, that's what I'm asking. They said, yeah. They said, well, go take care of business, what you got to do, and she should be here tomorrow when you get here. Well, she wasn't. She had died about 4 hours earlier, 4 or 5 hours earlier before I got there. I didn't have a smartphone at the time. Long story short, I just couldn't deal with it. When I come into her room and there was another woman in her bed, the nurse had me go back out, and she told me that she died about 3:45 in the morning. I immediately just kind of fell apart. You know, I just couldn't deal with it, you know. But when I mostly think about her today, you know, I think of what she has is what I've got too, that we got from our mother, and that was our smile. No matter what, even the 2 years that she had to do chemo and radiation, knowing she was going to die from the get-go from it, she still had that smile on her face. And I never heard her complain. And I truly did not. I never heard her complain. I helped take care of her at home so her husband could go work before she ended up in the hospital, and gave her meds and stuff like that. She never complained, you know. Well, I can tell you, I would be most certainly complaining because it spread into her bones, and I seen what it did to her. It was a different kind of pain. It's the kind of pain that really gets in your soul, you know. So. Yeah, I mean, I think about, you know, how the last 2 years of her life, and I think how she died and what happened to me, and I fell apart. But I don't let it drag me down, you know what I'm saying? It's just a thought, and I think of how I am now. Very thankful, very blessed, living my greatest life ever right now, you know. But I know if she was here, she would have that smile, and she would say this, just like my mother would say if she was here. And seeing how well I'm doing now and how everybody kind of taking light to me, they both would have said the same thing. I knew you had it in you. If you could have pulled it out, pulled your head out of your ass, and I would have said, well, you know, you're right. But it's kind of hard when all you're doing is facing fucking shit. But I finally got tired of facing the shit and grabbed my hand, took my hand and pulled my head out of my ass. You know, so that's what they both would have exactly said, you know. So, but I do think of her infectious smile like I've got. When you see me out there in Jonesboro all the time and I'm smiling, We got that from my mother. My mother was like that. She got it from her mother, my grandmother. Really, my whole grandmother's side of the family was like that. My uncles were like that, aunts, etc. You know, that's how no matter what the situation, either, no matter how bad they felt, you know, whether it was from physical pain or sick, you know, vomiting sickness, whatever, they still had that smile. And I can honestly say that I never really heard any of my mom's side of the family ever really complain for anything, you know. And that's just kind of how we all kind of were, you know. So I'm glad that I have those things from my mom's side of the family. You know, the smile, you don't complain, you be thankful no matter, even if it's something bad happening, you be thankful that there's something bad happening to you. And I'll tell you why. Because at least you're alive to have something bad happen to you, you know. So it's true. When I'm not, there's some days I don't have such a good day. Or if I'm really sick, but I thank the Lord above for allowing me to be sick, because at least I'm alive to be sick, you know. So it is what it is, you know. Even for the worst times, and I do live I live the best Christian life I can. But of course I fall short of the glory every day. I know I sin, like we all do, you know. I can't cast no stones because I'm full of sin. That I do know, you know. But I just try hard. I'm trying to reserve me a room up in heaven. That I'm really trying hard to do. I'm also trying really hard to not let anybody down here, because I know everybody here kind of holds me to a standard, and I have to hold myself at least to the standards that they're holding me to here now. So no matter how bad things I can tell you will get, I can't tell you that I won't ever go back to my addiction. I can't tell you that, because if I tell you that will never happen, then it will happen, you know. I'm blessed in so many departments, emotionally, mentally, and physically. First of all, thanks to my Lord and Savior. Second of all, thanks to everybody here, and that's for sure. And everybody that hits on my content, whether they're here in Jonesboro, outside of the region, I'm so thankful and blessed to have all of you. So I know if things got really tough, I always can talk to the Lord about anything regarding me, you know. But if I felt like I needed to talk to somebody else here on earth, of course, I would go talk to somebody, you know. But I don't really ever have anything really bother me that much at all, you know. That's where I'm blessed. That's why I say I'm blessed emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually. I'm at the greatest point in my life that I've ever been. I don't think I could get any better, to be honest with you. There might be something that I don't know of that could make me be even better, but I don't know what that'll be, what that is right now, you know. But like all of you, I've suffered. Everybody suffers, emotionally, mentally, physically. Everybody does. I don't care who you are, how rich you are, how poor, middle class you are. Everybody hurts, at least sometimes, you know. And I did. I succumbed to depression for 50 years. It was terrible. You know, I'm not like that anymore, you know. Not to say that it can't come back. It can, you know. I'm not one, I mean, I'm optimistic about the future, but I can't tell you that I won't ever get succumbed to emotional and mental distress again. It could happen. But if it does, only I can do something about them problems. You know, nobody else can do it for me. And if I don't do it, then it's not going to be taken care of, you know. Everybody suffers from that, emotional, mental, physical distress. Everybody does, at least at some point in their life. But you don't have to suffer from it all your life. I ought to be an example for what I went through, mental illness, physical illness, the whole 9 yards. And if I can come out of it, you can too. And that's a fact, you know. So when I think about my sister, I do think about more of that smile than I do anything. And that gives me some peace, and it does. And I'm glad to have peace in my life. That's going to be about a wrap for this Confessions number 46, still part 4. Thanks to all of you out there. Keep on keeping on, everybody. That's all I'm doing. So long for now, and God bless you all.